Good morning, dear colleagues, dear friends. I call for a final meeting of the General Committee on Economic Affairs, Science, Technology and Environment to order. Dear colleagues, the agenda for this meeting has been distributed. Could I please invite you to adopt the agenda? Are there any objections? No? Thank you. The agenda is adopted. We will be holding elections for committee officers for the 21st annual session of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly. Nominations for committee officers closed at 6 p.m. last night. I remind members that in order to vote in the election, you must bring your voting card with you. I think it is clear. Thank you. Now we come to the election of the committee officers for the next annual session of the Assembly. I have appointed as chair of the committee Mr. John Alda, Canada, Ms. Deridre Back, United Kingdom, and Mr. Pascal Lecam of France as tellers to oversee the conduct of the election and the counting of the votes. The International Secretariat informs me that the following nominations have been received in the table office. For the chair, we have the following candidates: Dr. Zaguriev, me, and Mr. David Stogmiller from Austria. Please could the candidates stand to be recognized? I don't need to stand, but anyway, I can stand. And David, please. So, as this position is contested, I would like to invite the candidates to briefly address the committee. The order of speaker has been randomly determined. This process was overseen by the tellers. So, according to the decision made by our tellers, as a candidate for the chair of the second committee will be first Mr. David Stogmiller. We have just the internal discussions. We decided maybe to give 2 minutes to each candidate to present their thoughts, views, and whatever he or she likes to say. So I'd like to start from Mr. David Stogmiller and then continue. David, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, dear Assay. Thank you very much, everyone here. I'm very happy to see you all here in the second committee. We had nice and very fruitful 2 days before. I'm David. I'm more than 4 years in the Austrian Parliament. I'm speaker person there for defense and security, also in the Court of Audit for Transparency and Anti-Corruption. I'm working there in these topics, also for clean politics. And I'm since 3 years, or more than 3 years, in the OSCE, and I grounded with a lot of friends from Norway, from Andorra, from Armenia, from all of these countries, a platform. It's the Young Parliamentarian Network. We did that because we want to change something in the OSCE, bring more young people in, the politicians, because we saw we need it. We need new perspectives, we need new people there, we need new points what we bring on. And also this committee for transparency, for environment, for technology, innovation, is one of the big and the most important committee in the whole OSCE, because it faces us all. We saw it the last days. We saw the war in Ukraine. We saw this aggression from Russia against Ukraine and how it faced the environment. It's an ecocide, and I said already yesterday, we faced on it, and we have to name it like it is. It's a war against the environment. It's a crime war. And we have to work on this. And it's also very depressive, or it's very bad for me, that when young people occlude themselves on the street, we have to face that, and we have, as a politician, to work on it, to bring it in a political level, to bring it here in the Assembly, and work together for environment and for the innovation that we solve this problem. I think we have a lot to do, and I'm really happy to work with you on these issues, on these topics, because I believe on a multinational level, I believe on this that we have to work on in the OECD for a better future today, tomorrow, and for the future. Thank you very much, and I hope I have your vote, because I really want to run for it. Thank you very much, and thanks.
Thank you very much. Dear David, I wish all the best to you. Dear colleagues, first of all, I would say that I am very much honored to be a candidate for the election as chair of this important committee. We have been working together at this for the last 3 days, but as you know that I am here in the Assembly for about 18 years, since 2005. I'm a member of Azerbaijan Parliament. From that time, I am the member of the delegation of Azerbaijan to the OECPA. For the last 18 years, I have held very important position. For 3 years, I was the vice chair of the first committee, and then I served as vice president for 6 years. And I'm proud that I was entrusted to chair this committee last year. It is about 12 months that I'm chairing this important committee. And of course, I have been also special coordinator and the head of the OECPA delegation to many election observation missions. So I know inside of the Assembly. I know what is challenges of the Assembly, how we can come over these challenges together in time of a crisis, difficulties that we face. We have very keen to address the economic, humanitarian, and environmental consequences of the terrible war and the devastating war in Ukraine. And we have tackled many issues together. And of course, I'm very proud that we had a very, very strong team here in the committee. Of course, if I am re-elected, I am keen to continue this endeavor, and which is very important. Also, our assembly composes from different continents, from Asia, Europe, and North America. The geographical distribution is very important to be followed by making decisions by our distinguished colleagues. I do hope that you will trust me again, you will place your trust, and I will continue working together with you. Thank you very much for your trust and the confidence. It was most difficult part for me. So now I'm coming to our agenda. So, dear colleagues, as you know, we have a vice chair, Artur Gerasimov. Unfortunately, he was not in position to attend this meeting, but I know that you all know him very well. He represents Ukraine. He really did a lot for our assembly, particularly for the committee. I think it is our duty to support him. We really need Artur on board of the committee and also as a member of the bureau. So I am also very pleased that nobody contested him. By our rules, we have a right to, let's say, elect him by acclamation. I think it is a time to applaud him, and we can announce him as elected vice chair. Thank you, and maybe Artur, if watches us, and or he has a chance to look afterwards our video record, and I would like to congratulate him as well. So, for the rapporteur, we have the following candidates: Mr. Maura Del Barba, Italy, and Ms. Gudrun Kugler, Austria, incumbent. She is a rapporteur for the last 2 years and made a good job. And Ms. Paulina O'Reilly, Ireland. And please, could the candidates stand to be recognized? Thank you. As this position is contested, I would like to invite the candidates to briefly address the committee. The order of speaker has been randomly determined. This process is overseen by tailors. Ms. Kugler shall speak first, followed by Mr. Del Barba, and finally, Ms. Paulina O'Reilly. Correct? Thank you very much. So, Ms. Kugler, please, you have the floor. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm so happy to see that the second committee is becoming so popular. That's good because the issues are absolutely key. I would like to ask for your vote because I would like to do the job of the rapporteur for 1 more year. There has been quite an understanding that it makes sense to be rapporteur for more than 1 year because you go deeper and you can have different emphasis and experience aids. You have received my presentation already about 6 weeks ago. In this presentation, you see what I have done for OSCE, multiple occasions. I will not take time to go into details, but I hope you have seen it. And I sent it about 6 weeks ago so that you have enough time to ponder, check it out, see if you would like to support me or not. You have seen my work for this committee. Most of you have been here in the last 2 days. I think it's good kind of to know what you get when you vote for. It's like going to a restaurant, kind of you know what's the food, and then with the rapporteurs, it makes sense to know what do these people stand for and how do they work. And I think most of you who are here have seen my approach. For this committee, it is key that the approach is a center approach and it's a balanced approach because we are here dealing with the big crises of our time. And I have been trying to accommodate all the different views and all the different group opinions as well. I see myself not as somebody who, forces my opinion on everybody, but as a moderator, or you could say an editor, right? So I have been going around in these last months and years to say to the special representatives and coordinators, what is your concern in this topic, in this topic, in this topic? I've met with so many, but I've also asked you, please tell me what's important to you, and I try to put it in. So you have seen in the report a number of issues covered, and those of you who work on these issues, you know that it's sometimes not easy to find those formulations, and then sometimes it's things that are one step forward and maybe a little novelty, but this is, I think, what OSCE should be for. Now, I would be asking again, in case I get re-elected, for your inputs. I have mentioned already yesterday that this year's report obviously had a focus on energy security. I'm hoping that next year's report should have a focus on artificial intelligence, on data management, and on rebuilding Ukraine. And of course, many other issues, but that's the big lines. And you can see from these topics, that's things that you cannot do alone, that you cannot do in your national parliament. You cannot have an artificial intelligence strategy only in your country. And this is about cooperation, it's about security. This is where these issues need to go. And I will be asking for all of your input, trying to get as many opinions and concerns in there as possible. Now, when it comes to voting, very often voting is a power game. People make deals and they move politicians like chess figures. And I see that in politics, that's part of it. But I also would like to underline in this sensitive area here that it could also be a vote about a person. And if we did more voting on persons, it's maybe very good for politics, less frustration. So I ask you to remember the quality of my work that almost all of you have commended in the last couple of days, the efforts made. I do my work myself. I write these texts myself with my team. And that's a lot of work, but it makes it also, in a way, deeper and more meaningful. I ask you to support the team spirit that we have here. We've been in Baku, we have done so many things, and Arthur, Azai, and me, we have worked together well.
Thank you.
And my last sentence, sorry. And I think OSCE is at a turning point. We have discussed this in the last couple of days. OSCE could go down into meaninglessness, but it could also come strong out of the difficulties. And experience and depth and a balanced approach is very useful to make OSCE strong, and I'll be happy to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Gudrun, Kugler. Me and David were in time and stick to the time limit, but Ms. Gudrun just a bit more. For the sake of fairness, I will give the the equal time to other candidates. Don't worry, I am just watching and I can read your reaction from your eyes. No worry, my dear friends, this is a good committee, everything will be fine. I am democratic chair. So, my second, our candidate, Mr. De Barba, Paolo, yes, Mr. De Barba. Mauro De Barba, please, Mauro.
Thank you, Mr.
Take
President.
your time,
Thank
and
you.
I will give
Thank you.
extra time for
No,
you.
it is not necessary. I don't need more time than 2 minutes. First of all, let me say that I'm so glad and honored to be here and candidate myself with two so brilliant colleagues like Gudrun and Pauline. So congratulations to both of them. Let me introduce myself. I distributed yesterday my CV. I'm Mauro Del Barba from Italy. I stand in Italian Parliament for 11 years and in OEC for 5 years, always in this second commission. I was involved in politics since I was very young, but in the meantime, always I did other things, such as a researcher in university. I am a logician, mathematical logician, responsible of the big data center, but I was an expert, and I am still an expert in sustainability. I founded and I was the president of the first Italian association on sustainability, and now I am still the president of the Association of Sustainability Companies in Italy, and I would like to underline this. The name is Asso Benefit, because Italy was the first sovereign state that realized a law for sustainability in company, in business. So I would like to start from these last topics, because I congratulate with the Commission because we approved a good resolution, very equilibrated. But I think that now is time for courage, and it's time for more listening to us, because it's time to choose. And we have to know, yes, of course, we design policy, we are politicians, but in all our country, there are subjects like companies that they are acting what we are only design. So we have to stay open to what happened in our country, and we have to listen in ourselves to better focus what we have done in a good way until today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Maura. And I will give now floor to Ms. Orelli. So, Madame Orelli, you have the floor. 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you so much to my fellow running mates. And I think you're correct, Gudrun, it's really good to see a variety of people running. And I do think that that is what the OSCE needs now at this stage. I believe that we need variety. We need variety in terms of countries. This would be the first time that someone from Ireland represented the Bureau from this committee, and I believe that now is the time. Where we sit is that I'm in a party of government. I'm the chair of that party. I work collaboratively with others in our government, and it's actually an incredibly successful government with EPP and ALDE, but also those in opposition in Social Democrats and in Renew. It's incredibly important, I think, that we can show and demonstrate in our work that we have the ability to negotiate with others, because we are all in this room at different stages in our transitions, different stages for our economies. During our term in government, we have one of the most buoyant economies in Europe. But, the role, I suppose, of a rapporteur is to listen to everybody, is to say, actually, what do you need from your rapporteur? And that is my strength. I'm a lawyer, a negotiator. I was one of the key negotiators for us going into government. I'm the chair of the Green Party, but before that, I was a lawyer. I'm a mother, and I've sat on the board of management of a university. I've chaired school boards and a variety of other positions. I think that part of the challenge for us in the OSCE is that we have gone through a couple of years of a pandemic, And so I've worked in the OSCE for several years. I've worked on this committee, I've worked on the Human Rights Committee. I believe that we need to take that approach that brings human rights into our work on this committee and also takes into consideration where people are at. And I note that the sitting and incumbent rapporteur has mentioned that it's really important to know when you go to a restaurant what you're going to order, but I also think it's really important to try new things in a restaurant. So I'm asking you today to take that leap with me. I do have a track record in negotiation. That's what we need for this committee, but we also are at a key point in the OSCE where we have to take the crises seriously. We have a war of aggression against Ukraine coupled with crises in climate and biodiversity. All of these things are the things that we need to take really seriously. And I think that we need fresh blood on the Bureau. I think that a lot of us in this room feel that, but also to recognise the excellent work that has brought us to the position that we are now. So I'm asking people to take that leap with me, and you can trust me, and you can trust that I will be fair and balanced. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear colleagues. By that, we have completed the presentation of the committee members' position that have been contested. So, and now I would like to hand over the floor to my friend Marco Bonabella to explain the balloting processes, and then he will just give further information what have to do further on. Please, Marco, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good morning to our delegates, members. So we will now proceed with the voting phase. The vote will be by secret ballot for the position of chair and rapporteur. Ballot papers have been prepared for both elections. For the chair, we have two candidates. To vote, please place a cross by the name of your preferred candidate. The candidate with the highest number of votes will be elected. In case of a tie, lots will be drawn. For the rapporteur, as you know and as you've heard, we have three candidates. To vote, please place a cross on the name of your preferred candidate. If a candidate receives an absolute majority of votes in the first ballot, they will be elected. If no candidate has an absolute majority in the first ballot, a second round of voting will take place between the two candidates with the highest number of votes. I think it's quite clear. The committee will be suspended while the votes are being counted, and then we will resume when we announce the results. I therefore ask you kindly to remain in the committee room until the results have been announced. Please, now, as I finish speaking, come to the podium to collect your ballot papers. You must have your voting card with you to collect the ballot paper. Please show, and the table will be there on the right side, on your left side, looking at the podium. You must have the voting cards with you. Please show your voting card to the staff to receive the ballot paper, who will place a mark on it. Please keep also your voting cards in case there is a second round. Thank you very much. I think this tells all, and I think we can now officially start with the process. So good luck to all. So thank you for the orderly process. If anyone hasn't collected the ballots paper, please do that as soon as possible on your left side. Thank you. Last call for collecting your ballots paper. Okay, if nobody else has to collect the ballot paper, then, and nobody else has to cast their vote, I don't see, so we can declare that now the voting is closed and we will proceed with counting the ballots. Please bear with us until we will announce the results. Thank you very much. So I would kindly ask you to take your seats so that we can announce the results. Thank you very much for the team and the tellers and all those of you who voted for making the process very smooth. So, this is the result of the election for the position of Chair of the General Committee on Economic Affairs, Science, Technology and Environment. 74 members voted. Dr. Azai Guliev received 50 votes. Mr. David Stockmüller received 23 votes. There was one spoiled ballot paper. Mr. Azai Guliev is accordingly elected to the position of Chair. Congratulations, Azai. We will proceed with announcements of the results of the rapporteur election. This is the result of the first round of voting for the position of rapporteur of the General Committee on Economic Affairs, Science, Technology and Environment. Again, 74 members voted. Mr. Mauro Del Barba received 20 votes. Ms. Gudrun Kugler received 37 votes. Ms. Pauline O'Reilly received 17 votes. There were no spoiled ballots and 74 valid votes. As no candidate received an absolute majority, we will therefore have a second round of voting between Mr. Del Barba and Ms. Kugler. Please now come back to the podium to collect your ballot paper for the next round. You must have your voting card with you, and you have to exchange it with the staff to receive your ballot paper. So you will need to hand in your voting card this time. Thank you very much. Please, delegates, if you haven't collected your ballot paper, do so as soon as possible, as we will be closing the election soon. Thank you. Dear delegates, the voting is closed. Thank you very much. Dov'è my paper? We are ready to resume, so please take your seats. And I would kindly ask our re-elected chair to join me. Okay, thank you very much for staying with us throughout this process. This is the result of the election for the position of Rapporteur of the General Committee on Economic Affairs, Science, Technology and Environment. 70 members voted. Mr. Mauro Del Barba, Italy, received 31 votes. Ms. Gudrun Kugler-Oster received 39 votes. There were 0 spoiled ballots. Ms. Kugler is accordingly elected to the position of Rapporteur. And with that, I yield the floor back to our re-elected chair.
Thank you, dear Marco. First of all, I'd like to thank Marco and all our teams for excellent conducting the elections and also the members of Taylor. So John and the other colleagues, thank you very much. And Mr. Lacam from France and our colleague from Madame Brock from United Kingdom. This is really important that we have fair and democratic elections. And I would like, first of all, to thank all those who supported me. I really appreciate your support. It is very much valuable. I will do my best in order to live up your expectations, the confidence that placed on me. It is huge responsibility. And for the coming year, I hope me and the new re-elected Kugler as rapporteur and Artur Gerasimov as a team will continue to do our best to bring all challenging issues to the agenda of the committee, of course, and to make sure that our assembly, parliamentary assembly in general, plays its vital role in addressing all issues in the OEC region. And of course, I would like also to congratulate Madame Kugler for her re-elections. And also, I would like to thank all our colleagues who took part in this competition, particularly David, my, let's say, competitor David. Thank you for your participation in that race. And also, of course, I'd like to thank all other colleagues, Maura from Italy and our good friend from Ireland. So this is really a democracy, and this is what we have to do. So at the end, of course, again, I would like to thank for your great job that we have done together for the last 3 days. I think we have passed very important resolutions prepared by our rapporteur, as well as we had the 3 supplementary items. And I think we had good debates and the important issues brought up by our members. And of course, I thank all of you for your great contributions, and I'm looking forward to working very closely with you in the coming months. So by that, I want to close today's last session of our committee. And of course, the work in other plenary are continued, and we will, of course, see each other. But anyway, I wish all the best, and looking forward to seeing you in our next meeting. Thank you very much again. So thank you, Marco. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Marita and
Anastasia.
Anastasia. Thank you very much. Gudrun, Madam Gudrun, will take a picture, please.